Oh, there we go. My mic's on. Can y'all hear me now? Earlier I turned it on, then I turned it off again. All right. Well, happy Friday before Thanksgiving. I'm here to answer any questions for y'all. Q&A session. You can ask me about Department of State, visa interviews, interviews in America. Happy to answer it. Let's see here. Well, of course, want to introduce myself if you're tuning in for the first time. My name is John Ting, host of Green Card Guys TV. Well, I operate a law firm called Ting Law Group here in Houston, Texas, representing clients all over the world and here to solve your immigration problem. Hopefully, you don't have one. And by the way, we do offer a free 15-minute preliminary discussion just to see if we can point you in the right direction. There is definitely no obligation to hire us in the future, but we're happy to help you if you need it. Now, let's see here. Some comments. So to unlock those free 15 minutes, you do need to stay all the way to the end of the show for the secret code. Okay. Now, and I'll give you a heads up whenever that might be coming up. Now, let's see here. Sing, you got a question. Your VAWA was approved last week. Wonderful. But you're in removal court, removal proceedings because of a pending asylum. Okay, that sounds about, standard situation. Your case is initially closed by a judge as your last request. Can you adjust status? Okay, well, sounds like I'm not sure if you have a lawyer or not, but at least what I would do, if I was the attorney on this case, of course, you need to consult with your attorney. That yes, there is a possibility to file what we call motion to terminate. Some people call it motion to dismiss. But with that motion, with that request, is to provide a copy of your VAWA approval. So congratulations, you've waited a long time because VAWA usually takes a while. But of course, you have to know that if you do terminate your case, that likely means you're going to forego your asylum application. So that's why you need to speak with an immigration attorney who can assess for you or with you whether you have a strong claim with asylum or continue forward with VAWA. So it's hard for me to say right now. But if you just look at metrics and pure data, the asylum is a much higher hurdle. Okay, it's definitely harder to win asylum. So just keep that in mind. Hopefully that helps. But yes, absolutely. Congratulations again that you got your VAWA approved. You can move forward. You have some options for yourself. Now, okay, there you go. Hopefully that helps. All right. Hopefully we added some value for you right there. Ibrahim, nice to see you. And friends, let us know where you're watching from. I always think it's interesting. We have viewers all the way from Philippines to even South Africa or Nigeria, and of course in all throughout the United States. So in the meantime, I'm going to see by the way, the visa bulletin. Everyone loves talking. Well, I love talking about the visa bulletin. So I'm going to share my screen and just give you a quick idea here about because the visa bulletin just got updated about earlier this week, I believe. So you can take a look here. Oh, before I go there, I do see a couple more questions. Nafisa, sorry if I mispronounced your name. Good morning to you. Rhonda Vincent, good morning. Okay, you got a question. In my experience, how hard is it to sponsor a second spouse? Oh, we have plenty of cases with people who have been divorced or separated. Somehow maybe the first spouse passed away, unfortunately. But I wouldn't say it's easy. We definitely need to provide documentation to show legitimacy, bona fide evidence of your current marriage, or if you are about to get married. Okay, so let's see. You were married before for a long time. It's kind of weird not saying my own mouth here. Before a long time, sponsor that spouse. You're now divorced in a new relationship, also newly divorced, separated for years. Okay, so yeah, that your fiance has been divorced as well. How long should you wait to get married again? You're a U.S. citizen. That's a great question. I mean, I've even had a case where my client just got divorced. I mean, believe 30 days before they hired us, and I told them, "Look, I need to know a little bit more about your situation." And it turned out they weren't living together. They were separated for a long time, for several months, even if not years. But on paper, of course, the USCIS would be like, "Oh, you just got divorced. Like, why would you get married and file for documents or file for your green card that soon?" So even if you get married, let's say next week or end of the year, New Year's Day, that's fine. But I prefer, with our legal strategy, just wait 90 days, 3 months after you get married. Now, some people don't like to wait because I understand you want to get the work permit. You need it, and the work permit allows you to get a driver license. So I totally understand. But I would only file, like I did in that other case that I'm remembering right now, when you have sufficient documentation. We just got a call because, yeah, I believe yesterday, because someone watched my other video about the marriage interview cases, or some free tips about that. And I mentioned that if you file only your photos and a marriage certificate, that is definitely a red flag, in my opinion. And so you don't want that type of situation. By the way, Rhonda, another tip here, bonus tip, is that please, please, please provide your divorce order, certified, or not the original, just give them a certified copy, because that they need to see that. They need to see that you're legally able to marry your current fiance, right? Because we had a call, yeah, a couple weeks ago that someone filed their documents and they mentioned that they were divorced, but then forgot to provide the divorce order. So I wouldn't say not all is lost. You do have opportunity to provide more information, but in my professional opinion, it is best to provide 90, at least almost 99.9% evidence as much as possible at the time of filing. Don't wait until later, because someone called us, yeah, I believe yesterday, and said that their current attorney said it was fine to file the photos, but then no actual like marriage evidence. In my opinion, photos are anyone could create photos. So officers are thinking the same thing. So I mean, these days, I mean, with the AI and photoshopping and things like that, that's why photos are not enough. Government, the USCIS wants to see financial evidence as part of the bona fide marriage evidence. Okay, Rhonda, I see that you say you understood. So there's a lot we could talk about, Rhonda, if you're interested, with you and your fiance. Friends, by the way, if you want to contact us, the best way is our phone number up here. Our cares team can, if you call on the weekend, our cares team will contact you within 24 hours of business day. Or you can go down to our website down below, greencardguys.com, and answer a few questions, and our team will call you as soon as they can. Now, let's see. There's so much I can say about that, but okay, I see you're from New Jersey. I lived in New York for 3.5 years because I went to CUNY Law School, SUNY University of New York. I had a wonderful time there. Great, great friends from there. And we're collaborating. We're making things happen together so that we can get y'all's legal status. All right. Senior Designer Edition. You're watching from South America. Wonderful. Thanks for tuning in. Let us know how we can help you. And friends, when I think you're a senior designer, that makes me think like if you're trying to open a business in America, we'll put out some more videos about those kind of situations. There are several pathways for you to open a business in America. Let's see here. Nafiska from Djibouti. I think I pronounced that correctly without the D. Let me know. Mahesh, hi. You're welcome, Rhonda. Oh, Mahesh, you're in Texas. What city or area? Coco. I think I remember your name, unless you're another Coco. You want to ask how long it takes to, from start to finish, marrying a green card holder. Your fiance just got his green card and you are on OPT visa. working in a company will be expiring in 1 year. Okay, great. Just quick strategy here for y'all that have OPT. In your situation specifically, let's see here. Marrying. Okay, so he just got his green card, right? Yeah. So I'm assuming your fiance got his green card um, through his company, okay, through where he works. So that brings a good point. I mentioned this in a previous video about so your spouse could file for you now, but in the meantime, okay, in the meantime, I would recommend because I hate to say this, but you just never know what can happen with your relationship. Things could go sour, you break up. So you should, as number one, okay, I hope everything works out for you, Coco. But number one, you should ask your HR, human resources department, or your supervisor at your company to see if they're willing to sponsor you. Okay. H-1B registration process is starting soon. We've been consulting companies um, almost every day about this. But we have a video series, by the way, that explains the common questions, answers the common questions, so that it saves time for the employer, and they can feel more comfortable in getting started because, um, yeah, H-1B process starts in March. Okay, it only happens one time a year. So, and I just had a consultation. Yeah, earlier this week, someone had been their employee had been working for them almost 2 years, and he asked me the company president asked me, okay, well, you know what, John, did we just miss the first one last year? I said, yes, you had an opportunity, but it's okay. You didn't know. But now that I'm here, we're here as an education resource. Okay, friends. So even if you don't hire us, it's okay. No hard feelings. I appreciate the love. Just smash the like button for me. Or if you're on Instagram, please click the heart button. Show some love, please. We're just trying to here point people in the right direction because some people don't have the correct information, and when they finally do, it's too late. So, Coco, I think there's a really great opportunity. There's multiple pathways here for you, but number one is to get your employer to see if they'd be willing to sponsor you. And I told someone else this the other week, like if your current employer is very hesitant or doesn't understand the process and not willing to even watch my videos that are free, okay, it's not on YouTube. It's a separate platform. We just send a link to it, so it's very easy. But if it only takes maybe 5 minutes of their time, so that we can share some educational resources. And we do have a PDF, like a step-by-step guide. So really, it's no excuses. But if they're not willing to sponsor you and you get that feeling, it's time to look for a new job and transfer your OPT if possible, because you don't have time is not on your side, right? In terms of that. But strategy number two, Coco. And I'm sharing this with Coco and all of y'all because I know there's a lot of other people, a lot of y'all watching that could have a similar situation because we get many calls like this. So, sorry, I'm speaking a little fast. I get a little excited to share information. But let's see here. Okay, so marriage to green card. Okay, you can do this, but since your fiance, when you do get married, it's not what we call immediate relative category. Okay, when that happens, you're going to be under the category of F2A. So let me see if I can share my screen with a visa bulletin, because I have a video about this about a couple weeks ago. So I'm sharing with you the most recent bulletin that came out this week, December 2021. As you can see here, the F2A includes spouses and children of permanent residents. So let's say you do get married, right? It doesn't matter if you get married now or you get married when he or she becomes a citizen. I mean, it's better for documentation that you get married sooner than later, of course. But let's say you scroll down, skip chart A, but go to chart B. Okay, F2A. Oh, okay, friends, just because just last month and for the last year or two, F2A show current. So now what it means here, I'm not going to go through the whole thing about what a visa bulletin is. We have a previous video about this, and also why you need to maintain status. So Coco, because you do have status right now with OPT, let's say you had filed, so we're in November now at the time of this show. that so we're about you're a couple months backlogged here with that USCIS and Department of State have these cases. But let's say you did file a petition and all those through your spouse, okay? And so at this time, you can only file a petition. You cannot file for adjustment of status, otherwise they'll get rejected. Okay, so you file a petition, but let's say you had filed it a couple months ago, back in September or earlier than that, then you can proceed to the next step of filing for adjustment of status, okay, 485. So, friends, I understand some people might have a limited budget, but please know, even though I share some form numbers here, that's not all the forms that you need to send. So if you need a work permit, that's a separate form. If you need advance parole, that's a separate form. If you need legal guidance, we're happy to help you. All right. So, but let's say I just want to share. So there's a separate video from a couple weeks ago about failure to maintain status and what that means. So let's say, Coco, if you didn't have OPT, okay, let's just say you didn't have OPT and you already filed a petition, or your spouse did, then that's a problem. And let's say you didn't maintain your status, let's say you overstayed, which I know a lot of you'll have. There are options. Hopefully you qualify for, you're legally eligible. We're happy to speak with you about it to verify that. Please don't guess. Please don't rely on an immigration consultant or a notario. I know some try, but some really just are scammers, unfortunately. I mean, that's in my experience when people call us all the time saying they got scammed out of their money and they got in trouble, legally in trouble. So anyway, you have to maintain status. And if you don't, there are some exceptions, but very limited. So, all right. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay. There's a lot I could talk about that, but check out my previous video about failure to maintain status. So at least you have the full knowledge of what you're getting yourself into. Okay. Now, Mirfi, your prior date is still important for appointment in COVID situation, which embassies are working different capacity. Well, that's a very broad question. You'll just have to go to the Department of State website. We're happy to share that with you in the comment section after the show or description box. But I can kind of give you an idea. Let me see if I can do that now. Okay, let me see if I can go to there. Okay, friends, if you're just tuning in, let us know where you're watching from. I greatly appreciate it. I'm always interested where you're all watching from. Let's see if I can find it here. Hopefully I can find it quick. Okay, let's go. Okay, Mirfi, let me know which consulate you have, and I can share with you. Okay. Okay, here it is, travel.state.gov, okay? And then you click on visas, US visas, and you scroll down, visa appointment time. Let me just type in Islamabad, for example. This doesn't provide, this is not a good indication for, you can infer that if you have like immediate relative, IR or CR type of case for immigrant visa, you can get an idea. But as you see here, many of the consulates have a longer wait time for visitor visas because they want to help people who are apply for investor visa or immigrant visas through employment or family based to get going, and students, of course, as well. Because hey, it makes sense for America to get students in because international student tuition is high. Okay, it feeds into the income, GDP. So, yeah, into the economy. So as you can see here, that's an example. So your question is pretty broad, but because it just depends on embassy as well, and unfortunately, not any lawyer has that kind of info. We're just doing some as intellectual as possible. Okay, I see. Intellectual guess here. Let me see if that shows up here. Abu Dhabi. Okay. Yeah, emergency appointments only. So I can see why you're asking that question. Okay. Amir Fai, I'll just continue every month or so, just email your consular embassy at Abu Dhabi and make sure they have your case on track, okay? That haven't forgotten about you. And let me know how that works, okay? Hopefully that's working out for you. But yeah, maybe it sounds like Abu Dhabi has some kind of COVID situation going on where it's all emergency appointment only. So we will release a. My team is working on creating a graph for y'all on some of the most common consulates or embassies that we get questions about, and showing a graph of the ebb and flow of how many people have been issued visas, and we put down like the most common visas that people ask us about. Of course, we can't do every single visa. That'd be honestly a lot of different charts, graphs. So, but yeah, we'll be sharing that soon. I think next week. All right, so stay tuned for that. Let's see here. Going back up to answer some more questions. Oh, but Amir Fi, I think you said F2B. So yeah, if I recall, the priority tier F2B is not a priority, unfortunately. So not in the higher tier of priority. So keep that in mind. You can find that in the travel.state.gov website on the most recent news. Okay, on let's see. Oh, I do want to share something here. We do get a lot of we do get a lot of recently a lot of questions about whether they're, if you have family members staying here and they filed a extension of status 539. I want to be very clear because I think a lot of y'all have a lot of hopes that USCIS will approve your 539, but with the travel ban lifted and removed by the President Biden administration on November 8th, and so pretty much anyone can travel here as long as they comply with the CDC and the TSA guidelines about the vaccination card or a negative test. Okay, so with that being said, I don't believe, in my opinion, I mean, I hope so for you, but and your family members, but I don't believe USCIS will approve your 539 extension of status of the visitor visa B1 B2 simply because of COVID. Okay, maybe they will. I'll be happy for you, but I wouldn't put my money on it. So with that being said, I will still recommend having a flight ready to go back to the country of nationality or just anywhere outside the U.S. so that your family members or whoever's watching does not overstay their visa, because you don't want a situation where you incur like a 1 year, 3 year, or 10-year bar because you just assumed the government was going to approve your 539. So that's a hot tip right there. We're the second year pandemic and things are, restrictions are loosening up for travel purposes and whatnot. So hopefully that gives you some insight. Okay. That that is just my personal opinion. That's not professional advice. But well, in fact, I guess it kind of is professional advice because you should not overstay your visa because it's difficult to resurrect it unless you wait out the bar time or you're eligible for a waiver. Okay. Senior Design Edition. Your notice of action letter says unmarried child, and your NVC letter says F31, and that means married child. My question: why showing two different category? Well, you need to update them. Yeah, you need to update them because I don't know. Somehow, it sounds like somehow they probably you're not married. It sounds like if you're saying why it's showing two different categories, but you need to correct them. Email them and let them know that you're not married. You're single. I don't know if your country of nationality. I know some countries they do offer like an official government letter says you're single or unmarried or something like that. So you need to get that done and let them know. Sometimes, honestly, it's a clerical error, and unfortunately, a clerical error can have devastating impacts. So you do need to update them. Okay, Senior Design Edition. Okay, Rhonda. Cool. Sounds good. Sheldon. Good morning. Your wife is in military. Thank you for her service. Appreciate it. Especially we just had Veterans Day. We try to give back our time pro bono to people who do serve in the military through our AILA organization. She's getting deployed in March. Okay. Do you want to apply for adjustment status? Can your case be expedited? She just want you to be comfortable before she goes. I'm assuming, Sheldon, that you don't have any status. We need to find out more because there are other options. There is like a expedited process or semi-expedited process for a naturalization, but I'm assuming, yeah, you said your adjustment of status, so you're not at that point yet. I'm not aware of any kind of expedited process for adjustment of status. I think, in fact, honestly, I think the government, USCIS, last year or two, they were complaining about lack of funds. I'm I can't assume, but I do have some people, some clients that say like they wish there was a expedited fee so they could just pay it so they can get green card status. Imagine how much money the government or the USCIS can receive and not complain about fees or lack of funds if they allowed this. But you know what? The government doesn't want to do that because they want to have a control on the flow of immigrants coming into the United States. By the way, let me know if you can hear me. Sometimes I speak softly. Let me know how that's going, okay? So it's about 10, it's 10:28 over here Central Time. So we'll have to get off in about 5 minutes. But I do want to answer a couple more questions here because you've been waiting patiently. I appreciate it. But Sheldon, give you an idea. If you are considering to hire a lawyer in general, um, we can share our details. Contact us if you have any other questions, because we know cases take a long time. Um, our team can get cases filed within 30 days. But of course, you need to have the marriage bona fide evidence ready to go. Of course, we have a checklist and all that we can share with you. And we reduce our internal processing time because we know the government takes a long time. In marriage cases through, if she's a U.S. citizen, your wife's a U.S. citizen, then on average, they take 12 months. So you're not going to get the actual green card resident status before she leaves, unfortunately, because that's about in March. Oh, I can see what you're saying because now we had the interview. So do you know when she could come back? Is there expected return date or how long her tour will be? But I would definitely file it now, especially if you've been married for at least 3 months. I'll go ahead and file it because you don't want to wait until, because there is I hate to speak this way, but there is a process. I really hope, we all hope she returns safely and healthy. But just talking immigration wise, there is a way to still get you green card status if she doesn't make it back. Okay, there is a widower petition that you can continue your process. Okay, but of course we have to reevaluate if that there was that kind of situation. But of course, we all hope that she returns safely, and so I can definitely understand why you asked this question. Okay, senior designer, you're welcome. Nicole, do you know how Superfeet works if implemented? Do you think it will survive Senate? Well, um, yeah, I can't speculate on something like that. Uh, I wish I had the superpower of understanding what the heck Congress is thinking. Um, but if you've been following my channel, I've been talking about and ranting about how some Republicans say they want to help dreamers, but they're just talking, no action. Okay, just ducks quacking. It's just ridiculous. So I don't know if it will survive the Senate at this point because have you noticed that there's been no talk really from Republicans about immigration? Isn't that interesting? And that's because they're just letting Joe Manchin and the other moderate Democrat, Chris, Kristen or Krista Sinema out of Arizona, let them be like the bad people, right? So Republicans don't want to, they want to gain votes, okay, for this midterm elections, and they might get it because the Democrats need a new strategy. They need to put the blame. I hate to say this, but they need to put the blame on Republicans and not let the media just talk about Joe Manchin and Krista Sinema because it's making Democrats look worse. I hate to say that, but it's true. Okay, so hopefully that kind of answers your question. Amir, does the supplemental fee, I think that's what you mean, Nicole, the supplemental fee provision in the Build Back Better bill, namely 2,500 for family-based applicant to jump the queue to get green card applies to those who consular processing abroad. I think it's still too early about that. Okay, I haven't seen a text specifically about it, so we've only seen like a bulleted list. I don't believe it's specified about consular processing. I 99% believe it will not include people who are abroad to go through consular processing because it's really for people who have been waiting a long time. That's what the talk about the visa backlog in general. So I don't think you can just like if you're going through the process now, for example, they're not going to allow you to pay the 2,500 to jump the line. I think that'd be great for anyone, right? But there've been a lot of people waiting before you. And I'm sorry, I don't know when you started waiting, but I'm just assuming you have not filed it yet. Okay. Okay, you answer that one. Do I think the parliamentarian proposal will that be approved? The Plan C. I mentioned this the other week. I do believe it not only should, but I do believe it has higher chances than the previous Plan A and Plan B, not just because it's Plan C, but also because my short answer is I believe that it won't affect the CBO because all the politicians talk about, what's the CBO score, the Congressional Budget Office score? Is it going to affect the deficit, or how is it going to affect it? But with parole, you won't receive any federal benefits. Okay, so that was a difference. That's the difference between Plan A and Plan B. So with that being said, based on that alone, I believe it will pass through. But so I'm not sure what's going on because last week Congress was out of session, not in session due to vacation. And I guess next week they'll be out of session too. So, or not in session. So they're in session right now. So they need to get things done. I don't know what's going on. Well, of course, they need to get this done very soon so they can pass the budget bill, right? Let's see. Hello to everyone. What do I think about F4 visa? That's a very broad question. I think it's ridiculous how long people have to wait. I mean, if you're asking me to rant, I can, but I think it's crazy how long the wait time is for F4. I was just looking at it earlier, and I think just for that column, the first column, I think it's about at least a 10-year to 11-year wait time. So, by the way, great question, because if you are considering, if let's say you are a U.S. citizen, you cannot be a resident to file for your sibling. Okay, you have to be a U.S. citizen. If your sibling, brother, or sister has considered immigrating to U.S. at some point, but then they say, "Oh, I don't know anymore. I don't know." People just get complacent and they're happy where they are, at least at that time. Just go ahead and file a petition for them. Consider it like a holiday gift or their birthday gift. Okay, file that petition. Get in line. Okay, get it in line because you want a priority date. You can see how long it's taking. So get them in line, get them in the queue. Don't wait any longer because we have clients that have called us like 10 years ago and said, "Oh, John, you know what? I should have filed a petition." Yeah, file it. I know some people, money, finances, like they want, their sibling to, reimburse them. Just file the dang thing. I mean, it's your sibling. Get the money later, file it for them, get that going because it's a long wait time, friends. And if when they finally agree to do it, the petition does not require their signature. It's only your signature as a sponsor. Okay, so just get that going for them. You're welcome. Happy to answer your question. You're welcome, Coco, Senior Design Edition. Sheldon, yes, she is getting deployed for 9 months, but we'll definitely give you. Okay, appreciate it. Hopefully it all works out for you. Susan, Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate the love, friends. So in the meantime, go ahead and hit the like button. And if you're on Instagram, please smash the heart button. We appreciate the love. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you, Salman. By the way, friends, okay, so that answers all the questions for now. I know some of y'all have more questions, but here is the secret code. You've been waiting patiently. I appreciate it. Here you go. It's over there on the top left. Okay. I'm sorry, bottom left of your screen. Green card guys, you could have guessed it. But yeah, that wraps it up for today. I appreciate it. And y'all have a wonderful weekend. Have a great Thanksgiving if I don't talk to you then.